Hello and welcome back to the next One Piece review and discussion. We are certainly in the thick of it all. We have been non-stop back to back with these chapters because Oda has been cooking something up and it's finally all happening now. There's just more reveals, more lore getting dropped, just more and more questions because the stuff we see in this chapter certainly holds promise for what is to come in the rest of One Piece. We've already had so much and we are still in the middle of it. So I'm looking to jump into this because there is a lot to talk about here. So, without further ado, chapter 1119, EMETH. So, a name we've not heard in all of One Piece, to be honest. It's a new name of a new character, but we continue carrying on with Yamato's pilgrimage. They have set off now and they are within the Kibi land. And unfortunately, the people here still resent Kaido. So she is getting stoned, getting thrown at by some kids who resent Kaido. So they're just throwing rocks at her. Not too happy there, obviously being Kaido's son. But hopefully other regions will be a bit more welcoming. She's just starting in the rougher ones. But last we had left off, it was the monumental double-page spread of Bonnie attaining her Nika form from a distorted future. She pulled into the multiverse and she drew from a timeline where she had the most freedom. And in doing so, she was able to summon the power of Nika for herself. And there are now two. Luffy's in his Gear 5th form as Nika, and so is Bonnie. And they are just ready. All the giants are ecstatic. The drum beat, can you imagine 2 drum beats going off? Like, it must be going crazy right now on the ship. But we don't start there. We are back up in the Labo phase where we get a final conversation between Kaku and Stussy. And Stussy doesn't say anything. It is just Kaku. He is out of the bubble now. He's been freed. And after having heard the conversation between Edison and Stussy and everything she said, he is like, you knew I was going to let you leave, didn't you? Because he's just like, go. He's like, just leave now. But you knew that was going to be my response. And he says, we're friends. Don't make me laugh. I respected you. You were formidable. You were a relentless associate. But Lucci will not be swayed. And when he comes back, and he will, you shouldn't be here. And she's like tearing up. She's like trying to explain or talk to Kaku, and he's just like, leave now. And we see Kaku underneath the hat, just quietly trying not to turn to Stussy, also shedding a tear or two. So Stussy might make it out. I think she'll reach the Sunny and see Zoro and Jinbei trying to hold off Nosturo, and she'll get involved there to help the Sunny leave. I think that's her destination, to escape. But we'll see how that transpires. But we do come back to the festival that is happening on the giant ship. You know, it was all tension. Everyone was afraid. You know, Mars had just been attacking with like his laser beam. The giants were holding off, but everything was catching fire. And all of a sudden, the drum beats kicked in. They are both in gear fifth, ecstatic. And we've got the Marines on one side being like, holy shit, that's the face from his wanted poster. Like, we're screwed. And then all the giants are like, Nika, Nika. So they seem pretty pumped. And as we've got the revelation of now two Nikas, Mars is like, just don't even get ahead of yourself. And he just continues the assault of fire, laser beam breath. Luffy jumping into action instinctually, inflates himself up into his like balloon form and just like it starts incinerating. Like he catches fire and there's just this flaming ball, and through the pain he's like, look, nothing hurts these guys. They can be sliced, they can be crushed, nothing affects them. The only way we're going to do this is if you all hail me at him full force. And Sanji, Frankie, Bonnie, they're all on the ship. And they're like, right, if that's how we've got to do this, you know, if all we've got to do is send you flying at him, then you ask for it. And Bonnie for a second's like, wait, what? We're attacking Luffy? But Dory, Broggy, they were dancing before, but their heads are screwed on now. Like, this is crisis mode at like DEFCON 5, I think is the main one. And they're like, we're going to leave the Birdman to you. We're going to get this ship going. And all the other giants are starting to dance. And they're like, what are you doing? Stop dancing. We've got to go now. And they were like, you were just dancing a minute ago. Like, what? Oh, fine. So, ship is ready to set sail. Luffy, the absolute menace, still as an inflated balloon, extends his arms and grabs a hold of Mars's wings. He like pins him here, ready, and he's like, this is it now. Hurry while I've got him held. And we see, just completely unfazed by this, Frankie, Sanji, Bonnie, all load up, I would say, their strongest attacks. Ifrit, Jonbei, Hell Memories, impactful strong right. We see the first attack of Bonnie, her giant Nika punch. She inflates just like, you know, the big Kong gun, goes absolutely massive. And I love Sanji's comment here of the captain's orders are absolute Bonnie. And they all unload their strongest attacks into Luffy. And there's just a page where like Luffy's like, whoa, like that hurts. Like, why does it hurt? Wait, why are you guys using Haki? Like, this hurts so much. They have put everything into this attack. And Luffy in his balloon strikes into Mars, and there's like a moment where he like hits him and then like recoils back, and all three of them are like, we can't let up, keep pushing, we've got to get him away. And Luffy just like struggles against the pain but inflates and does booming dawn balloon and absolutely sends Mars flying. It's just like Team Rocket.
Looks like Team Rocket's busting off again!
You know, just absolutely sent into the sky. There's a little speck, little gleam in the sky as Mars is gone. He is removed from the battlefield. He'll fly back, obviously, but for the time being, he is done. Gone. Dusted. We're all good to go, guys. Let's get out of here. Luffy jumps back onto the ship and then is like, right, where are the others? Where's Usopp and everyone? And Sanji is like, they were on their way down, but they're late. They were going to meet us here. And Atlas steps up and is like, I'm going to go check on them. And Sanji's like, why are you going to go, Atlas? Like, she knows that York is monitoring. And she reaches out to Lilith. And we don't get the rest of the sentence. She's like, Lilith, where... And like, we jump away. So, I think... I've said this for many chapters. I think all the Vegapunks are going to die. And I think Atlas and Lilith are going to have a final standoff with York. They can't... I think they're of the mindset, being the strongest mind, biggest brain in the world. They're all connected to Punk Records. They know that if York is left at the end with the access of Punk Records to work with the world government, like, that's a big problem. And I think Atlas and Lilith are going to become very aware of that and are going to have to try and stop York. So it is going to be a confrontation of Atlas, who is like the security, big, absolute machine. Lilith, who is the embodiment of evil, against York, who is greed. Like, this is going to be carnage between the Vegapunks all turning on each other. But I think now, with Nostjoro trying to stop, obviously, the Sunny, Zoro and Jinbei, we've got now Stussy, who's going to probably meet up with them to escape. Atlas will arrive up there and will stand their ground with Lilith to allow the Straw Hats to leave. And that means that the Stella's body is still on the ship. Whether he pulls through, unsure. It would need a miracle. But I think I'm still very much of the theory that we got right back at the start of Egghead, that all the Vegapunks will die. But anyway, we've got more bigger things to talk about, because that's not all. We go back underwater to see the robot sitting up now, still moving. It took an entire full-blown attack from Walkyrie, got sent to the bottom of the ocean, and then just sits up like it's nothing. And the transponder snail carries on. It is not over. They did not destroy it. Vegapunk says nothing of the sort. That's why that ceaseless inherited aspect, we can call it a will. And in these moments, we carry on jumping around the world to places we have yet seen. We are here at Whole Cake Island. We see, obviously, the big man Katakuri. We see Mossgate. We see Brownie. We see Zucotto. You know, we've got a few of the children. Still, you know, rebuilding after what had happened, but probably still dealing with the news that Big Mum has died. But they all are freaking out, being like, wait, is that like a bad signal? Like, it's just come back on? What's going on? Vivi and Morgan are like even more like freaked out. Like, when did it come back on? We see York messaging the elders again, saying, you only interrupted the transmission. We have to destroy the snail itself. The memory circuits are still intact. So, if we want to shut this down for once and for all, we've just got to get the snail and absolutely destroy it. And bless his cotton socks, we see a little panel dedicated to our dear friend Gaimon and Sarfunkel. You know, they're just vibing in the chests. Just that, you know, doesn't matter that this war's about to break out and, you know, all these people's lives are affected. These two on the island of rare animals, love and life. What a way to live. What a way to live. But Vegapunk obviously continues and says, those who have suffered, I hope my prayer, my voice can reach you. And what we see is back on the Elbaf ship, Luffy is like, what the hell is that? And it's like raining, but it is not rain. All of the CP agents and the Seraphim begin to rain from the sky like debris. And people are like, they're falling out the sky, they're gonna die, we need to catch them, we need to make sure they're safe. And we can see a few Marines like very valiantly like leaping to like catch these dudes who are just falling. And we look off to the distance and we can see Zhu Peter. We saw him do it chapters ago and we were wondering why. He inhaled all of the agents in that massive widespread like vortex attack. And now he's just spewing them back out as like projectiles to be like, you've still got a job to do here, and just sends them flying. And Dory's like, look, we got to get some distance from this dude. This is bad, but it's already too late. Jupiter turns his head and begins inhaling once again. And he draws in the ships, the ocean. Like, this is a black hole that they are being sucked into. But Luffy has had enough. He leaps into action, punches Jupiter's mouth away to stop the suction, and the giants are like, yeah, let's go. And there's a comment from Bluegrass. Or no, it's Doll actually, I think, who's talking, because it's on the marine ship. And they're like, a giant white monster, raining cipher pole agents, monsters, even dreams aren't this wild. So, kind of funny that Oda's like saying, like, I don't know how I'm coming up with this shit, but clearly it's mad. But we get right to the last 2 pages of the chapter where, as Luffy is locked with Jupiter, Valkyrie charges past. He gets past, he gets ahead, and he leaps off the shore. Like a running, jumping mountain of a boar to go towards the Elbaf ship. And what we see here is incredible. He leaps, and Luffy's like, he looks out and he's like, guys, get away. His skin is like super tough. He's gonna smash the ship. He's gonna run right through you. And Bonnie's a child again. Like, Sanji's like holding her. She's out. She like had one attack in her Nika form and she is done, like exhausted. She's like, I can barely like feel anything. And then emerging from the water, we hear a thought. JoyBoy. Luffy looks down, and erupting from the water and delivering the world's biggest uppercut to Valkyrie is our giant robot. But he is no longer the giant robot. Ladies and gentlemen, EMETH. The thought bubbles are like when he was sinking. He's thinking over memories of JoyBoy, and we get the first ever dialogue from JoyBoy. Memories that EMETH has, and it is JoyBoy saying, "Listen up, EMETH. The time is at hand." And EMETH is questioning what is like the time, what does he mean? And like we've got the cartoonish eye bulges from Dory and Broggy like freaking out, and we get Luffy's little like gleaming eyes to be like, "Robot!" Like absolutely ecstatic. But that is where the chapter ends. And we do have a break next week, but man oh man, what to think we're now getting like the like old JoyBoy and what is happening. Oda has been setting this up, and he will eventually show us. I really hope EMETH here actually survives or talks to Luffy or Robin or someone before they leave and passes on. You know, Zunisha was talking with Momo and had all that interaction. I really hope EMETH, you know, gets to say something of like his history with JoyBoy. They talk about like the time has come, or waiting for the time. The translation's still rough, I guess. We don't have the official one until Sunday. By the way, as well, not only did he then he took the massive hit, and he's just erupting from the seafloor to here. He completely busts one of Walkie's tusks off. So there's Luffy going, that dude's skin super tough. Even I can't like dent him. And EMETH comes up and just goes, tusk gets sent flying. I think Walker is going to be dazed by this. Remember this robot 200 years ago raided Marijois. So if it's still standing to this day, it can stand up to these 5 elders. So certainly can't wait to see where this goes. But anyway, let me know what you guys thought of this chapter, the introduction of EMETH and his connection with JoyBoy, like how close were they, what actually happened in the history, and what are we going to see next chapter. I will see you guys next time. Bye.